Get started, if everyone will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, if we can go ahead and do a roll call here.
Rick Hardy here.
Dave Vogt here.
Julie Johnson.
Randy Wise.
Fred Townsend, Board Attorney.
Okay, everyone. The first item on the agenda, I guess not technically not first, is to adopt the agenda. Do we have a motion?
I have a motion to adopt.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we're gonna keep rolling. So the first item, or the next item, is to open up the public hearing. And so this is a request for a variance from the code of the town of Dewey Beach to add a half-story to two non-conforming townhomes with party walls extending into the 8-foot side yard setback. The properties are in the neighborhood residential zoning district located at 2 C Strand Court, units 1 and 2, formerly known as map 334, all those numbers. The requests have been submitted by Carrie Muldoon and Terry Ryan, co-owners of the properties. So the public hearing is open. If there's somebody, either the homeowners or a representative of the homeowner that would like to present. Sure. If you can come to the podium, come to the podium. Mr. Townsend's going to swear you in.
So if you'd start with your name and address, please.
My name is Claudia Cueto. I live at 539 Westminster Avenue in Swarthmore, Pennsylvania. I have a property at C Strand, 32 C Strand.
Okay. But that's not the subject property, though?
No, that was the subject 2 years ago, but no, that's not the subject property.
So you're a hired gun, are you?
I am not armed. I am the architect.
Oh,
I'm
gotcha.
sorry. Oh,
Okay.
gotcha. I should have just started with that.
All right.
I thought I looked like the architect. I'm the
You
architect
didn't look
for
like the architect.
Carrier.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give in this proceeding will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I affirm that everything is the truth.
Very good.
The truth.
Mhm.
Yes. Sorry.
That's okay.
And I've done this a million times, and every time I'm still nervous. Right? So anyway, should I speak in this?
Please.
Okay. I don't know if you remember. I don't know who else was on the board 2 years ago. I came before you, and I was the architect for D building, and we came also and asked for this very same variance to extend a third half story. So we are seeking variances from the 18560 governing extensions of non-conforming uses or buildings to allow for an increase in height of the legal non-conforming structure. So as you know, we are zoned NR, is it NZ? NR, we're in the district NR. These buildings were built in 1960s, so now with the new zoning, we're non-conforming. Townhomes would not be allowed now in the zoning. So, all right, and so, you know, we're coming to, because we're increasing the structure's nonconformity, therefore we need to get a variance from you. So we're thinking this application triggers the quick check considerations applicable to area variances, the nature of the zoning district where the property lies, the character of the immediate vicinity, whether removal of the restriction seriously affects neighboring properties and uses, and number 4, whether failure to relax the restriction creates an exceptional practical difficulty for the applicant in relationship to her and his and hers efforts to make a normal improvements to the property. So I would say that we meet all of these. We're, again, they hired me. We're also using the same contractor to stay with the same look that we did for D building. So I think it's, we appreciate that we are trying to keep some to make all these townhomes look similar. So we're going with this, literally that's the same design for this half story. Again, we can't meet the setbacks because the property lines are the party walls. So, and our neighbors, they are very excited. I don't know if you've seen D building, but we got a lot of positive feedback, and I think people are excited to continue with this type of design. Do you have any questions for me?
Any questions?
Yes.
Are they co-owners of both properties, or one owns one property?
They are co-owners.
You're both, okay. Okay.
Yes.
Just curious.
Question, are there any other, because it looks like the roof line is gonna be a little different, can you? talk
No,
about
the
that?
roof line is the same. Oh, well, I should explain. So in D building, we started with flat roofs, and in this case, we're already starting with a pitch roof. So we're replacing a pitched roof with a half-story pitch roof. So we are compliant, we want to be compliant with the height restriction, we will be at 35 feet, but otherwise, that's the only difference. And it's it's basically the same, it's just a little bit higher, because the half-story allows us to raise it up a little bit.
A question about that is, so are other units in the building, have they already done this, and do they have the same, they have the same roof line that you have?
Actually, if you see, I don't know if I sent, well, I guess you can see here, and you can see here, but what will happen is the roof line the pitch roof will remain in the other units, and then these two will just pop up, but they'll follow the same line of the pitch. So if you look here on A, you can see behind, that's the dotted line of the adjacent roof here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
So
it'll be-
that's the
Estimated.
difference, that's about the different height. Well, with the half story, we are, the minimum, we have to meet, the maximum we can spring is 3 feet, so this will be 3 feet or less. And then we can create the pitch, but we can't exceed 35, so
Right.
that's the,
Well, I'm just thinking about like the uniformity of the roof line, because it's, since they're townhomes.
so, yes, and what we're hoping is that, and I'll let the owners talk about their neighbors, have talked about that they would like to do the same thing. They're just not in a position right now to do it. Not like, we were so fortunate with D that we could all get together and do this at the same time, but they're 8 units, so they have more. But we're hoping that they're at the end and they can set now the precedence so that it will, right.
I gotcha. That was my
Yeah, I was going to ask if anybody else was going to do it.
Just one, can you estimate just the height difference it'll be for me between the
If I have
Current
to
units
guess,
and
it's
the-
probably about 3 feet.
3 feet?
Because
Okay.
because it can spring up, so it's probably about 3 feet. But remember, when you look at something 3D and you'll be from the ground, it won't be, it's
Yeah,
not
it won't be
looking,
as obvious.
it's not like looking at it this way.
Exactly.
You're always looking at it obliquely, so it won't be.
Any other questions, anyone?
I guess.
So
Okay.
well, I don't have any questions necessarily if the applicants are going to testify, but if they're not, then I would have a couple of questions.
Yeah, they are going to
Okay,
come in.
all right.
You both want to, but hold it just a moment.
It doesn't have to be the second. Was there another question, Rick, for this
I was
witness?
just checking, because it doesn't really show me interior.
Oh.
For the second story, for the
Here.
third story.
Here we go.
Meets the knee wall requirements, because it almost looks like a
Yes.
full third story, but
Well,
Dawn
it does.
Dawn will
well,
catch that.
So if we
wanna
go
be
back to
sure.
the section, what we did is, so part of the half story is you can have a dormer. Either you have 50% on either side or 100% on one side. So what we ended up doing is, if you go to the section,
Yeah, I couldn't see that on the.
yeah, so, well, you can't really, but so what we did is we ended up cutting the roof back to create the deck, and then we put the full dormer, not quite 100%, on the other side. So this gives us the deck, and it also gives us some head height in the back room.
Gotcha.
John, before we hear from the owners, do you have anything to add?
Hey, Don.
Hey, everyone. Hi, how you doing?
Haven't seen you in a while. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you, and hopefully everybody's doing well also.
Yeah.
Now concerning the plans, I haven't seen anything in the way of construction plans. With this, everyone, it appears within this segment of town would like to have the ability to do a half story. And many of the property owners have come before your board and been able to accomplish that. So Claudia is quite a fine architect to be able to work with. And as I said, I've not seen any architectural drawings and so forth, but that would be required should you as a board approve this variance. And so with that, I would work with both Claudia as well as the property owners to be able to be as compliant as possible.
Okay, thanks, Dawn.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dawn.
Mhm.
Any more questions?
All right.
Do you need to swear?
Yes, yeah, you need to.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that's me.
Yeah, you.
Name and address, please.
It's Terry Ryan, 2 Chesapeake Street, Unit 1, Dewey Beach, Delaware.
Okay, Ms. Ryan, do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you give in this proceeding will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. Okay. First and foremost, I want to thank you all for being here tonight. I understand that this is a volunteer effort, and that's dragging you out on this great day. We talked about that on the way in.
I'm not
It's kind of tough to, pull
I'm not a
yourself away.
volunteer.
What's that?
Yeah, he gets paid.
It's paid.
I was looking this way.
Everybody else is a volunteer.
But my wife, Carrie Muldoon, and I have been Dewey Beach residents since 2013, so we're coming on, let's see, that's, my math is right, about 12 years here. And as you know, many of our neighbors, some of whom are here tonight to support us, I hope, at least they're here.
You didn't talk to him before you came?
Yeah, I'm a little bit nervous about that, but no, many of whom are here, some of whom are here tonight, but many of our neighbors have done renovations in the Sea Strand complex. And we're just looking for the same consideration, actually. Claudia, who is also a very humble architect, had such a fantastic design that once that went up, we couldn't wait to get in here and start our process. She also mentioned we deliberately chose the same team, and we did that for a reason. Certainly because we love the design, and to adapt that design to the building was very straightforward and I think fairly easy, although I'm not the architect, just a failed one. And we chose Growler Builders, and they have deep roots in this area. They know the building. They've done this renovation, basically, and in that complex, and we know what that will do is limit disruption on neighbors. We can get it done quickly, professionally, and really preserve the aesthetic of Sea Strand. So that's really what we're asking for tonight, and do, again, appreciate all of you coming out, and you as well.
Oh, thanks.
Do you want to add anything?
Fred, you have to, said you had.
Yes, so have you attended any of the other applications that were brought that are similar to yours in this area?
Yeah.
You have,
Yeah.
okay. You heard your architect correctly identify what our 4 considerations
Yes.
are here for the board.
Yes.
And it's easy for the board, since we heard these cases recently, to kind of assume what the answers are to those
Okay.
different considerations. But I've got to write a decision, and
Okay.
the board has to vote and give the reasons. And so, for the record, I'd like to ask you to speak to a couple things.
Sure.
The first consideration we have is the nature of the zoning district, and it's pretty obvious that you don't intend to incorporate any kind of a use on the property that's not consistent with its current zoning, right?
Correct.
Correct? You're not
Yeah.
changing
No.
the
No.
use from residential to anything else?
No.
And then the nature of the surrounding area is exclusively residential, at least in the
Correct.
close vicinity,
Yeah.
correct? Right?
Yes.
Then, have you gotten any feedback from neighbors that was negative?
No, just that everybody else wants to jump on the bandwagon when they can. And as Claudia mentioned earlier, we're sort of establishing the design aesthetic in hopes that folks will copy that moving forward.
Can you envision any scenario where a neighbor would claim to be significantly impacted in a negative way?
No, and so you know, we did have conversations with our neighbors prior to this, so they are all well aware of what we're doing, including the design. So, as I said earlier, they're just looking to jump in as soon as they can.
Thanks.
So,
And then,
Process.
yeah, yeah.
and then lastly, the fourth consideration is whether you're confronted with an exceptional practical difficulty in an effort to make normal improvements to the property. These, I think it's pretty clear that these are normal improvements
Yes.
in the fact that they have been, something similar has
Yes.
been. So what is your difficulty? And I can imagine you might speak to the vintage of the unit and why it's no longer, current, or
Yes,
that
yes.
it's small, perhaps?
Yes, it is small, and, this is an opportunity to upgrade the unit To do a renovation, we just have to do a certain renovation to make it worth our while to do that renovation in terms of the economics of it, right? And so the size and that kind of thing. So, and they are small units. I don't know if you've been inside them, but they're small,
So, yeah, so what does that mean? They're small, like,
under 1,000 square feet. Okay.
and then layout, like bedrooms and whatnot?
Yeah.
What are you restricted to?
Well, living there as, having more room, basically. We used to live in DC for a long time and then made our permanent residence here. So we just to accommodate, everyday living, I guess would be my answer. Yeah.
Okay. Any questions?
So, so this would add an additional bedroom upstairs and a kind of living area? And a bathroom?
In a bathroom.
So it adds about 300 or 500, it's like.
Is it, is
500
it,
square feet.
it's under 500 for something, right? Okay.
Square feet, okay.
The unit is only 15 feet wide.
Right.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, I think they're under 1,000 square
Yeah,
feet
I know.
with both floors now.
Okay, so I don't know if anyone is paying attention or watching online. No? Okay, all right, so we don't need to repeat that then.
Any questions? Thank you.
Okay, thank you again.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Do any of your neighbors want to have anything to say? Sure. Go on, come on up.
Do I need?
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Yep.
Here I am. Hi, I'm Lorraine Demchak. I own number 36 in Sea Strand. So I was part of the,
And your address is that where you make your residence?
sometimes.
So
My permanent
I'm gonna swear you in, so give us an address for the
My
record.
permanent address is in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, 916 Greenhouse Drive in Bethlehem.
And do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give in this proceeding will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Absolutely, I swear. We just all, because we've gone through the process, we were, it was remarkable that all 6 owners could actually come together and put this beautiful addition on that was really an enhancement and an improvement in the space and our ability to use the space. So I think it's only right and fair, with precedent being established, that this be approved for them as well. It's, I think they asked, if you had gone past and seen what ours look like, and it's stunning. And people stop and say, oh my goodness, this is such an improvement. So it can only enhance that which is already there.
The legal side of me is going to say that we don't rest on precedence here. Every application is different. But I understand.
It's not the first one. Let's just put it that way.
Exactly.
And I think that this design is a superior design. So, there you go. Thank you.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
How you doing?
My name is Henry Pasco. My address is 35 Sea Strand Court. I'm in Building D with Lorraine and Claudia.
Sir, do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony given in this proceeding will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. Thank you for allowing me to support Terry and Carrie. I'm one of those folks that did not live here full-time. We bought in 2018, but to Terry and Carrie's point, it was just too small to move here, particularly what we were used to when we had our house for 35 years in Annapolis. But once we were able to put that third story on, we sold our house in Annapolis and then moved here full-time in September. And I have to say, just working with Claudia, her designs and her work are, I would say, creative and compliant with equal measure. And I know that you don't stand on precedent, but if you take a look at Building D, they're all 3 floors. If you take a look at Building C, they're all 3 floors. And there are four, about to be four in building B, and they would be the first ones. And I like the fact that they kept the design, kept Claudia, and kept the contractor, because we'll get that kind of continuity. That does change the property value too. Thank you.
Thank you. So guys, we've been through this before, but any comments on what your thoughts are about this? I'm gonna close public, we don't have anybody online? No.
Well, standing is not my strong point. Can I talk from here?
Oh,
It's okay.
he's, I'm trying to.
So we don't have anybody who's
Online.
following online, so given that, that, I think we'll make an exception for you.
That's fine.
I was a Pennsylvania realtor for 2 years.
Sir,
You gotta say your name and address first.
you're not,
I'm Chuck, 36 6th Street,
and sir, do you solemnly swear, sir?
2 6th Street Court.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give in this proceeding will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I'd like to point out that these buildings are over 60 years old. They predate Dewey. They predate paved roads. They predate zoning. So I don't know why they would need a side yard variance, since the zoning code should have recognized what existed when they created the code. That never made sense to me.
Well, the answer is that the restriction limits bulk, and what's being proposed adds bulk to the site. And the board's responsibility is to take into consideration what the public policy is behind the restriction in the course of granting any relief. So just for the board's
Right.
edification. Yeah.
So, thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
So you wanna start?
Yeah, I mean, if I look at this, it's like we've seen in others, but even just, they're raising their roof, so it's slightly different, so that was one question I think we had, but I think it fits in the nature of the zoning district, of course, the surrounding area. The practical difficulty in these having a townhouse is that you can't have setback, an 8-foot setback, so I think they meet the standards.
Yeah, I believe they meet all the criteria that they need to meet, especially like the practical difficulty. Now they want to improve the property, and I believe they should be able to.
You guys are quite organized. For Claudia to get up and knock off the 4 criteria right away was,
Right off the bat.
I was like, okay, she's done this before, she's done her homework. So that was, I mean, you guys made it easy, but Fred reviewed them again, I itinerated these things. And I have no issues with anything, but the hardship part was, financial or otherwise hardship. That's a little iffy, but again, it's the way you're doing it and everything is going to enhance everything, so I have no problems.
And I think before we started talking, I forgot to technically close public comment, since we've heard from everybody.
I think that's fine.
Okay. I agree. I think, the nature and the character of the area, obviously other people have done this before. It's not negatively affecting the neighbors. Obviously, everybody wants to jump on board. It's just a matter of time and money. I just redid the kitchen and that was an arm and a leg, so and obviously the exceptional practical difficulty given the fact that it's a townhouse, and you can't have an 8-foot setback under the rules, so. Any other comments before, Fred, did anything else before if I ask for a motion? Motion?
To approve.
Well, we got another,
I'm
go
sorry.
through the motion, but we gotta
Okay.
go through are you gonna make a motion for us?
I will make.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to jump the gun.
That's okay. I forget the other part that we have to do. but-
Well, you just kind of repeat your comments.
Yeah,
the
exactly. So I would motion to approve under the practical difficulty of not having an actual 8-foot setback allowed in town. I think they are within the standards of the area and just improving the area. There's no neighbors that are also complaining or excellent. Seems
Wait a second.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So I think your eyes are all based on the comments that you made and
Yes.
were made by your fellow members,
That is correct.
right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Easy peasy. So we're, now do I have I don't believe we have any other business, so do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. See you